Shama,
Hello.
I am just getting us situated online and sharing in the various chambers of the internet.
Do it.
Um, it's almost Rosh Hashanah.
Right?
I mean, like, there's other holidays before that, but it feels like it's almost Rosh Hashanah. Okay, I think we're good. Shalom and welcome back to Soul Siblings Part 2, back by popular demand. I'm so privileged that my dear friend Neshama Carlebach has joined me again in song and conversation tonight. How are you, Neshama?
I'm so happy. I just only want to talk to you.
How's how's the family? How are your Kinderlach?
I think the Kinderlach are good. I think I don't know what we're gonna do this summer. I mean,
Yeah,
what are we doing, man? This is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. How are your Kinderlach?
my Kinderlach are a bit younger. They're a 7, crazy, and 5 months. 4 years old. I meant by crazy, but he's there. They're they're this is not how the this is not this is was in no one's plans. They crave socialization so much. um it's hard. It's really hard on Hillel, especially. you
Yeah,
know
I
Yours
hear.
are older.
Yeah, but equally bored and annoyed. They just have more words, I think, to describe. They have more ways to express their depression.
Well, they have music too. Your little one has music in a
Yes.
very incredible way.
Thank you. Thank you. He really does. He's astounding. He's learning Clapton, and today he was working on Stevie Wonder licks, and he's like, I just want to change a little. I'm like, you can't change. Playing the riff of Billie Jean. And he's like, I think I just want to change. I was like, dude, you can't. You cannot.
He's got vision. The kid's got vision. That's awesome. I sort of feel I feel like I feel so I wish, I just feel so trapped by the moment in terms of, like, having to physically withhold a kid from hugging a friend or hugging a grandparent. It's like, it's so counterintuitive, and yet it's what we do because we need to, in these moments, but it's
It's,
hard. Yeah.
it's really, really hard. I really feel you. And especially with kids that age. That's, I'm sorry.
Um, Here we are on, I don't know, we're nearing the a period of mourning in our Hebrew calendar, our Jewish calendar, and yet it feels like we've been in this, like, collective state of mourning for a much longer period. What's been going on in the country, and obviously the pandemic. And at first I wanted to just ask you, like, where do you go for moments of, like, recharge and rejuvenation yourself to, like, stay connected to the moment, but also, your heart in an intentional type of way? I'm asking for a friend.
um, I don't. I don't. I shouldn't say that. I have moments within moments. Like when I take a walk, I've been walking with my boys. It's been very just rejuvenating. We kind of walk in silence.
Mm.
Something very holy about that.
Silence? Your children let you walk in silence with them?
We hold hands and we walk and we listen to the air.
Whoa.
Pretty holy. But we don't do it enough. And there's so many people. It's like there's just it's like you have a moment of like utter bliss and then it's over. This is rejuvenating for me. This is the most adult that I've been able to be.
Tell me about it.
Right? I don't know. I think every day up and down, up and down. I'm okay. I'm really not okay. I'm semi okay. I'm back to depression.
Hmm.
Do you have bad dreams? Does that happen?
Oh yeah, sure.
It's a thing. People
Is
have,
it?
yeah,
It's sort of like it's seeping into like every facet of our like consciousness.
yeah, yeah. I'm having graphic, horrific nightmares, like
Mm.
Holocaust and like I've gotten dark.
Well, we recently left the city, you know, and we started like we were establishing a minhag, a custom of like going on a family walk every night after dinner, which has been so special. But like I feel a certain sense of like Holocaust trauma and history of like, you know, I've said it in passing. I didn't mean it but I said fleeing the city. And I was like, fleeing the city? But that's sort of what it feels like, you know. Um
You are a little bit because you
yeah.
can't like a mensch. You've got to like skulk out and not say goodbye to anyone and
Yeah.
hug anyone on the way out and not stop for lunch. You know, these are all things we used to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry
Um
you feel that way. That's a lot.
I appreciate though what you're saying about the power of silence. Um Especially like when we're like ausgezumt, my Yiddish phrase of just being like overly like bombarded. But I think like those all of those are just like those, you know, they're they're extensions of just a deep raw like need I think that people have to still be together, you know, and especially in this new way when like we don't know when we'll be able to gather in person in community. um
It's awful. It's so sad. And apparently, singing is going to be the last because if you need to be 6 feet apart from,
right,
you have to be 20 feet apart if there's singing involved because the singing projects farther, which I think I've always felt spiritually,
right.
that like
The
it,
singing goes to a different place, you know.
I mean, so it's gorgeous and
Right.
really depressing. How are we gonna gather and sing together if
Yeah.
everyone's not gathering or singing?
Well, who but you will like lead us in that endeavor and moment, this like new chapter. Like people can look at Neshama's upcoming events. She is everywhere like and a half in these like months of like pandemic. It's pretty astonishing. Um you know, in preparation for today, we were remarking that like today's an anniversary. There in a couple of ways. One, it's like an anniversary of a of friend, mutual friends of ours. Of like, I think the first time that we met in person, of Josh Lachter and Shira Atkins. So shout out Mazel Tov to them. Um,
Best wedding ever.
it was such a special wedding. I had the privilege of being Mesader Kiddushin, of officiating, and Neshama sang and brought down the house. It was a very special. Talk about Holocaust connections. Josh's grandparents and my grandparents knew each other in Warsaw from way back when. Which is
That's,
crazy.
oh my God.
So,
We're in heaven that day. Big time.
um, but it's another anniversary too that you alerted me to that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Of Will you tell us a little bit about what this moment was?
Yeah. So it was not the 16th, it was the 14th. So just a couple, but Erev, it's still the anniversary.
Exactly.
So it's the last Shabbos, so we're good.
There you go.
So on June 14th, 2 years ago, I had the privilege of speaking in San Francisco with Sydney Mintz and Addie and Rabbi Ken Chasen, Rabbi Sydney Mintz, I should say, in a Me Too conversation in San Francisco. And I had done several of these conversations. Do we need to preface this conversation? We're just going to jump in. We're just going to
I mean, I think people like can Google if they feel so like inspired and inclined, but I want to honor like the just this moment, and the context will come, I think. I don't
Cool.
think we need to preamble anymore.
Awesome. We're done. No more preamble. We have no time.
Exactly.
No time. So I had done several conversations about the accusations against my father and me too, and the healing of the world. And this one in San Francisco was incredibly deep. It was blocks away from the House of Love and Prayer site, the place where my father had this home where people hung out and, where the world shifted and, the rainbows came out of the windows, and I was never there.
Mm,
Several of the original members of the chevra that accused my father were there at this talk. And I was never more scared in my life. I've had some scary moments. This moment on June 14th, it was by far the most scared I had ever been.
mm. I'm scared hearing about there's like second air because I'm just trying to imagine like the courage. And before that, like you said, this wasn't the first type of conversation that you've held around Me Too. Is that true?
Yes.
So like what what impelled you to to have those conversations in the public way that you have?
I don't know. But I also don't know really why I started singing in the first place. It was happening, and I said okay. There are a few moments in my life where I have been very specifically, I felt like my feet walked ahead of me. And when it came to this moment of Me Too and the accusations coming out in the world again, and my hearing everything and seeing the world clearly, it came. I mean, I worked really hard to say it, and it was very, very painful as it came out, but I had to speak.
Mhm.
I had to speak. So I did.
Your family hasn't really talked though about that period of time.
Right. It's true.
Uh, and you and so like I'm trying to imagine, I'm like, to the extent that you're comfortable sharing with us, like what goes into your cheshbon, your like accounting, as you're choosing to enter into like the lion's den almost. um like what does that feel like? I mean, you mentioned the terror, the fear, but like how does such a conversation, confrontation, encounter like even come to be, especially when it's not with the accused, right? Like you're not your father. um and yet you sing his music, or whatever projections and associations people might have with you. So like what does that feel like to be in those conversations given that reality?
See, I think people mix us up, and I think I allowed it. And I think maybe I created it, actually.
Hmm.
Maybe I just missed him so much that I needed him somewhere. And so I allowed it my whole life. I didn't do it on purpose. I don't think I walked around wanting to be him. I just wished him near.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, certain things that are similar. And so people would gravitate toward me because they missed him. And I allowed it because I missed him too.
Mm.
I don't think that was the right thing for me. I don't think. I think it took me a really long time to realize that I was worthy um, without holding him so close, without his spirit acting like my mask.
Mm.
And I think there were a whole lot of practical reasons why it worked. I mean, first of all, I was an Orthodox woman, so let's face it, I could never have come up with anything interesting on my own. So I would have to attribute it to.
Oof.
So, it was so easy. If I ever just said a Torah, everyone right away was like, well, who said it? Who said it? So it was like Rabbi Nachman or someone else. But, I had to find a man to thank. So
Mm,
and if not, I had to apologize for my strength, which I was very good at apologizing for my strength.
mm,
I did it almost daily. And when it came time for the allegations to come out again in the world, I was no longer Orthodox. And I say that with a lot of pride. Not because of God, but because, and it's not chas v'shalom against, any human being in general. I love people and I love everybody. But the mindset, the hashkafa, the, the hang was
mhm,
not,
mhm,
because when I realized that I was ready to be strong and on my own, I could not be an Orthodox woman.
mm,
And I could not sit behind that mechitza one more minute. And
mm,
I couldn't allow the mask that I had worn that covered my strength from my own eyes to be over my face anymore. I couldn't do it.
mm,
And when the allegations came out, I realized it's not just that I did a good job at, bringing him close, but literally I was just an appendage. It didn't matter that I'd been doing this work for over 20 plus 25 years. People connected me with my father, and when he went down, so did I.
mm.
And I take full responsibility for my part in that, because I allowed it, for sure.
I guess I still don't understand what the it is. I feel like, right, like, are you supposed to, um, are you supposed to like renounce your name or change your name or, right, even the choice to not sing songs, that's a choice people will make, but it doesn't it doesn't address like this, if we're in a moment right now in time we're talking about systemic racism, right? It doesn't address the systemic, um you know pervasiveness or sexiveness, like sexism among, in various communities. So like I'm mindful of that responsibility that's sort of placed upon your shoulders, but then you also carry of your own accord. And I'm intrigued by it because I part of me I feel like it's, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Totally. Totally.
How do you make sense of what I'm saying?
You're saying that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And as a Jewish leader, you're absolutely right. Every human being is a human being unto themselves, and they deserve to be loved and seen as a separate being. And so it doesn't seem cool. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm also saying, yes, I am saying that. And I'm also wondering around like the choices, right? Because when certain places decided not to sing your father's music for however long, right, that had this effect on you too, and your career and your, um and it sort of seems like a backwards type of like fulfillment of addressing, quote unquote me too,
Agreed.
right?
Yes. I agree. I think that I mean, and I've said this aloud a lot, and sing his music, don't sing his music, like him, hate everybody, hate me. I don't really care, but please God, whatever it is that you hate in your life, do not disguise handling Me Too around singing or not singing a song.
Mm,
Fact is, this behavior, this pain, this has been in our world for too long.
hmm,
And it's going to take a long time. We are literally just at the beginning of the doors opening to the
mm,
conversation. We haven't even gotten in the house yet. Like we're just maybe on the front steps, possibly.
Mm,
It's a long conversation and a lot of cleaning and a lot of healing that has to happen. And whether you sing a song or not, it does not replace the work. And I think the greatest sadness for me is, I mean, my father, me, like we're all just cogs in a wheel to a certain degree. You know, our lives are bigger than all of us.
mm-hmm,
I just don't want my father to be the excuse
mm-hmm,
for the world not looking at victims of abuse anymore.
mm,
It's not okay. I mean, all these women who come forward, it's not okay to be slamming on my father. Listen to the women, listen to the pain, be present. How are we helping people who are in so much pain that they go to shul and they hear a minor song in three that's not even my dad, and they're breaking down? Don't focus on my father. I mean, bless him. May he rest in peace. It's not about him anymore, and it's definitely not about me. But oh my God,
mm-hmm,
I've been so sad watching the world swallow itself in misdirection,
mm,
and I think we deserve better than
mm. Do you think you would share a song with us now?
that. Totally, I can.
I feel like, it's the power of song, right? It sometimes goes to places where words can't. And here we are dealing with like the heaviest of the heavy, it feels. But it's sort of like the only antidote, I feel, also.
I agree. Okay. Okay, so this is one of my new ones because I feel like that is appropriate for
Mm-hmm.
this because we're talking about how my mask should not be worn anyway, as tightly. So this is music is written by Beth Stiles, who is, I don't know if she's watching, but she is just a glorious human.
Mm,
She is a very great visionary, and we met about a year plus before we started to work on music together. And the night before she was scheduled to meet me through our good friend Shira Lissick, Shira, I love you if you're watching. She wrote this song, Elohai Neshama, the night before she
oh,
met. And it's deep to talk about gratitude for your own soul. I spent a long time trying to not live up to my name or deal with my name, hating my name. I'm very humbled by my name. It's not about me, but this is a good song. This is Soul Elohai Neshama. Okay, you got to mute, Avram. I'll start again. Elohai Neshama Shenatati. Thank you for the honor. Really.
Such a beautiful tune.
Yeah, Beth did good. You know, it's an amazing thing to be thankful for your own soul.
Hmm.
To be grateful for your own soul is more than just physically waking up, although these days I think that's really important. To be very
Hmm.
grateful. Wake up in the morning, like, oh my God, you know, thank you for me, thank you for my soul. But even more than that, it's like, thank you for my essence.
Hmm.
You know, you're saying about racism. It's like, thank you for the inside of me. You know, not the mask, not the shell, not the whatever it is that people see. Thank you so much, God, universe, that I have something inside me that's gorgeous. Thank
Hmm.
you, because who we are inside goes so far past our story, so far.
I, you know, the Chazal, the rabbis say like Ma'aseh Avot Siman Lebanim, that right, that the stories and the happenings of our ancestors, our parents, our fathers are Siman Lebanim, are a sign for future generations. And I have a teacher, Dan Smokler, who often says it's tikkun. It's he says Maaseh banim tikkun la'avot, right? That's actually like the deeds of the children um, that are these healing, meritorious, um, has an effect on our ancestors, on our past, and I feel like you carry that for me, Neshama, in such a powerful way, in the way that you talk about your music, the way you talk about your father, the way you talk about just who you are, of um, sort of like a real spiritual like courage, um, that I think the world needs, in the same way that the world needed to learn to sing after the Hurban, after the Shoah, you know, that your father was so instrumental in helping the Jewish people learn how to do in their synagogues and spaces. I feel like we're in a moment in time right now where your voice is so important for its own merit. Um,
Appreciate
can I so like how because you've had many musical a partner in your career, how does it like work? Does someone like send you music? Do you send them like an idea, like a lyric or a pasuk? Like how does the process what does the process look like?
You know, I think there are some people who have formulas, but maybe those are the same people that have formulas in life, and you know, it works out for them.
Yeah.
I've never, you know, I wouldn't know what to do with a formula if it hit me. You know, I've never been. My life is always just a little bit like, wow, like
Hmm.
a little over the top. Anyway, so I have never had one formula, and I've been blessed, like deeply blessed, to create beautiful, beautiful music with glorious humans. And I don't know how we found each other. There was no audition. I didn't put out well, maybe I put out like a spirit smoke signal, you know, but the fact that we found each other, that we were able to write the song, that the song came out into the world and hopefully gave somebody something of worth, some uplift when they need it. Oh my God, what a gift! Seriously, I don't know how any of it happens. That's the truth.
Mm. Are there like are there projects that you feel like that are closer, I don't know how many albums you've produced, like a lot, but like, are there how many?
Only 10.
Okay. I
All
mean,
of my
that
records could now go to school together.
but like, how does, like, are there project parts of, like, when you look at are there moments that you feel more connected to, or more, I don't want to say proud of, but like more that speak to who you are now, or are they like, oh no, that was that chapter of me?
You ask very good questions, I gotta tell you. I think I get really immersed in a moment and I express it, and then I can kind of open the door to the room and visit every once in a while, but I get immersed in a new creative moment, and I feel very lucky that I've been able to find new ways to express myself. I don't know, I don't think it's a reinvention. People have said that. I don't feel like I'm reinventing anything. I just feel like maybe I'm inspired differently. Maybe it's the Def Leppard I listened to before Shabbos. I've gone back to my rock and roll roots, so maybe that's what's talking to me now. But I am quite in love with this music that we just created, this Believe recording, and in a different way, more proud of this one than I have been of any of the others,
Mm,
and mostly it's because I wasn't wearing any masks,
mm.
and I wasn't pretending, I wasn't trying, I wasn't running away. I was just like marinating in the moment and in the music. And I think it came from a different place, from within my soul.
It's a funny thing, right? Because for like the listener, or for the, you know I think like, um because when I think of, you're singing, I don't know, any number of songs, whether they're of your father's or your own, like, the listener doesn't sound like a masked person, a masked expression. It feels like an honest and authentic, you know glimpse of who you are and where you are. And that's because it probably is, and it was, but like, it's the power of, like, I guess, when you sing, you know when you revisit songs that you've sung for so long, right? And or when you create new songs that they, like, I guess, maybe shed light on your past singing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. Literally. And I think I've always been honest about where I've been in my singing. I don't think
Yeah.
when I say I was wearing a mask, that's my own analyzing of
Right.
my own self. And that's for me to share or not share. But
Right.
I feel very, very filled with my own integrity in the moment. So
Right.
whatever I expressed was true. I just think I didn't know, maybe I just didn't know how true I could.
Mm.
What,
No, it's also strikes me as like the power of, like, when you sing, when anyone sings, when we sing words that aren't our own, right? Whether they're from, like, Tanakh or Torah or wherever, right? Like, the moments that they were first, like, uttered, right? By, whether it was by a prophet or from wherever they were, like, in the context that they were said. I mean, that's the power of the timelessness of some of those texts and those songs, which is that they can still speak to us in, varying generations and moments.
yes. Well
Uh,
said.
I'm riffing off of your of feelings of the feelings of your music. Um, what I just had a question on the tip of my tongue and it's gone. Also, because there might or may not be a small child who's lurking in the distance. I tried to set myself up in a place. What?
Bring him over.
I know. He would be very happy to talk to you, but like I tried to set myself up in a place where I wouldn't be interrupted right now, but I don't know that that's.
Welcome to the world, man. Like I used to be like embarrassed. I used to be, I mean, my kids are not as young as yours, so it's a little bit more controlled, but oh, every day on a Zoom, I'm like, "Hi, what's up?" They just come in. Do you need a minute?
No, no, we're gonna be Mamshich sign. We're gonna go on.
Okay.
Um, but I may ask you to sing a song.
Would you like me to sing a song so you can take a minute? I can
Maybe.
totally.
This is what happens when you do Zoom interviews with
We can also
people
like
who you trust. Yeah?
man, we can take a 5 minute break and come back.
No, no. Let's hear a song. Let's do it. Um, let's do a song, but let's think of a song that connects to what we were just talking about, like words that I don't know. I mean, you were think we were th- of we're thinking about the moment in time that we are, right? We're nearing up to 3 weeks time. We're nearing up um, to this morning period. Does that feel right?
Sure. Sure. Do you want some shlomo or you have feelings about that? Anyone out there have feelings?
No.
I mean, I have many. Um, this is actually a brand new track that my musical director Seth Farber, oh my God, I miss my band so much.
Mm,
So he's been creating awesome music for me to sing on Zoom, which is kind of an amazing privilege in this moment because where would I be without music to sing right now? Where would I be in general if I wasn't singing? I must say.
mm,
I'm overwhelmed that people are hearing me again and that I can sing and that I can help and um, that I can feel close to people at this time.
mm,
What I was born to do and I wasn't doing it for a really long time.
mm,
So this is Nachamu Ami, and my father created it, and I reinterpreted it, and it is my song. So if anyone has any feelings, you can write me. This is Nachamu Ami. Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, Yom Aleluichem. 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 Oh, Dabru Aleinu Yerushalayim, V'kiru Oilad. Dabru Aleinu Yerushalayim, V'kiru Oilad. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
Talk about words that can stand the test of time.
Yeah. It's amazing that one because it's from the Torah, and we learn that there are no words wasted ever. On the contrary, right? Each letter is to be analyzed and appreciated. So nachamu, nachamu. So it's the two times. Comfort, comfort the people. You have to say it twice because when someone is really, really broken, it takes more than one time.
Mm,
You have to speak to their hearts and
mm,
bring them close. And it's really an entire pasuk of repeating yourself.
mm,
Sometimes it's just not enough.
mm,
Sometimes one hug is not enough. Sometimes one apology is not enough. And I think we give up really quickly. We give up when we don't get the response that we desire for our own psychology. And really, there's a lot of broken people out there. And sometimes it's just about the nachamu, nachamu. You just got to keep on going. You got to keep offering it. You have to stay present, or you really have not offered anything at all.
mm.
It's a lesson. It's a lesson.
It's hard to do though. It's hard to like stay in that space of, you know, it's I'm trying to I'm like curious, what does it feel like, now where you when you're singing everywhere and these Zoom days and nights, there was a time where you weren't singing not too long ago, right? Um
The first pandemic. my first errand.
right? And so like what is this feeling like? Are you like, yeah, what is the feel? I have what is the feeling like to now be back out in these spaces, some of the spaces that you were, they were not welcoming you, to say the least, to now to be like the exact opposite and say, no, no, actually we need you, we want you, we need your voice, we need your Torah.
I'm really, really grateful. But it's a very interesting thing because I've had just so much introspection at this time. It's been like a deep moment of that for me. And now I'm looking at my own face as I'm singing.
Mm,
So interesting. I know I'm blessed. People have said that what I've given out has been meaningful for them, and I'm so grateful for that. But I'm looking at my own face. I mean, thank God now
mm,
I can too, but on these webinars, it's just me. And there has to be some kind of tikkun healing, something to learn. When I'm in the world, I feel to give something bigger than me
mhm,
out. Nothing to do with me. And yet all I see is my own face. So what am I trying to learn at a time where I'm so desperate to scratch away any remnant of the mask that I used to wear and just be just the best me that I can be for me,
mm.
for my family, for my husband, just in that time, all I'm doing is singing to my own face. And it's so weird and so awkward and so holy. Um, Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
my start blinking. Maybe that's a sign in itself.
This, um, can I ask you a question as a parent?
Yes.
So like, and I often feel this like way of like, I'm blessed with three children, and there's this sense that they look at me as if I've got it all, like I've got well, like they expect dinner at the very least, but like there's like this projection that we have onto our own parents of like who they are, what they provide. And meanwhile I still feel like the same broken soul, like trying to figure out like what does God want of me, how do I live my best self. And like I'm curious for you how you taught, you who are like so immersed in so many different Jewish communities, how you talk about like some of the communities of origin that you've been in that have been hurtful, if not downright abusive to you, to your own children as you're shaping their own like Jewish identities and identities as just people.
It's a big one because you never know if you're getting through, right? Like
Mhm.
you pray. I just over and over again I just tell my children to speak their truth. and I tell them to do it with kindness, but they got to speak their truth and nothing less. And there's no mask in this house. I don't want it. And it hurts sometimes. Sometimes I do the wrong thing. I ask them to tell me. When they tell me I've done the wrong thing, I thank them. It takes a lot of courage. I began to see the wisdom in that, with my husband. I beg him to tell me the truth. I just want to know the truth. If I've messed up, then let me fix it. Because that's it. It's about falling down and getting up and being your best self and speaking your truth. And I dive in every day that they're my kids. My kids know the value of their own inner voice, whether people agree with it or not, whether the world embraces it or not. They need to know that that's the greatest value. And I wish I had known that when I was
Mm.
there.
I wish I could just like record that and play it on repeat because it's like
And your son wants to run naked outside to be
yes.
you're the best host ever.
Oh my gosh. He's like, and I was like, um, it strikes me, it's like we don't have like, a Princess Di in like the Jewish community, Neshama. But it strikes me that like you're probably the closest that like we do have, and like I think of the type of like I said this before, like the spiritual courage, but like it's like it's real work. It's like you talk the talk, but you also walk the walk. I know that you do with your own kids, and it's like it's the hardest work to do. I feel like there's there's like a Twain quote, like, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. The things that we like teach our children, about the world, about ourselves, about their families, about um so I want to thank you for like modeling how to do that, and sort of like for us.
You do it all the time. You just don't realize you are.
Maybe I mean we're trying to,
So am I.
right.
I mean, I hope.
Yeah.
I try to give them space to figure out who they want to be, but so do you. Yours are just much littler.
So little.
It's true.
Yael was saying to me recently, because like it's the challenge of Zoom school where like in order for people to be heard, the kids need to be on mute. And she was saying like, what a hard thing though for a 4-year-old. Like the teacher, like they want to know that they're being heard, right? The teacher wants to like, it's such a challenging moment in time they're living through right now. But um,
And there, I think kids around the world are handling it with so much dignity and
so
grace
much. Yeah.
more than I would have at that age. I think I would have been more belligerent,
Yeah.
not accepting. I would have been really mad, I think.
Yeah.
Right? At that
Yeah.
age.
Oh, totally. Totally. I know the way that Ravi has like adapted to just Zoom school and like using a computer. Like she knows how to use Zoom better than like Yael does. Maybe me at some point. Like she can put up backgrounds and screens. I haven't quite mastered that yet. Um, do we have should we do another? Do we have time for another song, a closing song or so? What do you think?
We should talk for another minute and
Okay,
then
and then
then
sing.
I mean, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
You're
let's.
looking at the Facebook Live?
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm going to open up the Facebook Live. I had it open. I just closed it for a moment. You were getting a lot of love, I saw recently, the last I was there, and gratitude for you for speaking your Torah. And
And you're getting a lot of love.
I don't know about that.
You
So
better.
we'll take questions for whoever if folks have questions. Let me see.
Totally no pressure. Seriously.
See. I can't picture this. um, no, I'm gonna like say goodbye to that. I can't do it. It's too much. I'll ask you a question instead. I'm sorry. I'm deeply curious about everyone else's questions, but the challenge of navigating like the technology is just a bit.
Totally.
Um,
Bad idea.
so here we are, like I don't know, 3 months into the pandemic. Is this like our future? Do you see this? Is this how we gather now going forward? Is it through Zoom and Facebook Live? Is this like as good as it gets? I mean, I've seen in some pockets there's like reopenings of spaces, with like 10 or so scattered about, but like what happens to live music? What happens to like the feeling that you get when you sing in like a room full of people? I mean, I understand it's like your part, it's your work and world and like livelihood that we're talking about, but like I guess what is it, what are your like hopes or visions for um a post-pandemic world, um but also like what does it feel like to know that we're not quite in the post-pandemic world either?
I think I just want everyone to be safe. And I think that that's the first and only priority right now. Yeah, it would be great to all be together, but for what? There were a lot of great Megillah readings where people like got the fire. How many
It's
Megillah readings
true.
did you have where people, that was like one of the last times people were gathering and then everyone was just getting sick. So, I mean, it would be great for everyone to be together, but I can wait. I think we can all wait.
Mm,
And I think for the people who say it's not worth waiting, I think that's just a little short sighted. I think our world needs a little baking. Don't take the cake out before it's done. It's not going to be yum yet. It's just
mm,
not. I don't think we're ready for whatever reason, whatever it is that we're supposed to gain or learn as we wait for really a healing from this malady. We need to wait and we need to let ourselves cook. And it's really hot to be, I mean, I'm taking this analogy way too far. It's really hard. It's a hard thing to be in the oven, hard to be in the fire. And here we are. That's where we are. And it's hard. And it's what's got to be, or you're risking your life. And
right.
life is really good, despite it all. We are so blessed. We are so blessed in this life. And the days that I get sad, I'm sad for people who have lost loved ones. In the last 9 days, 4 close friends,
Mm,
people who I love very much, have lost parents.
mm.
Tomorrow will be my third Shiva. Shiva in about a week. And oh my God, it's the worst. The Zoom Shiva is just the worst. You've
So
probably,
hard.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
I cry for that. But I'm not crying because I need to be out in the world, screaming
Mm,
and crying and drinking. I don't need that.
mm.
I hope that people have patience. We need that right now. And yeah, this is going to be it for a little while. And I think it's not okay, but it's got to be okay.
Mm. It's maybe I'm not talking to you enough, but I feel like I don't hear that enough of like still need to be patient because I think there's such a hunger for a return to normalcy, to any semblance of normalcy right now. And so I so appreciate you naming that, and right, like it's cause for we it bringing out these moments, right, these opportunities for conversation and all the other places virtually that you're going to be, and how we gather. But it's so it's the same way that it's hard to do the double nachamu, right, to like stay in that space of brokenness and offer like right, it's like there's a part of us that wants to that needs to be moved in a space of movement, right? But this period of time does require a certain type of pause, and to the extent that we're able to go within, as you're talking about it, to look within, right, whether we're talking about whatever, you know, whatever systems of oppression that we might try to be toppling, racism, sexism, you know, um, to use it as a time for our own type of like cheshbon and nefesh, you know, type of soul accounting. So thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder to do that work.
Of course. You know, there's so much talk about amongst clergy, as you know, and song leaders and people who try to give their souls to Jewish praying about the high holidays this year and what will we do and how will it look and what are we grieving? There's
Mm,
a lot of grieving going on. And I think that if you stop and you accept the fact that you're in mourning, if you accept the fact that you're in the desert, that if you accept the fact that you are in the 3 weeks, 9 days kind of headspace, you know, maybe Yom Kippur will make a different kind of sense.
mm, mm,
There have been times that I've gone through Yom Kippur without one shred of self awareness. I'm just
mm,
like, oh, what time is it?
mm,
I gotta eat. You know, I'm not a good faster. When I have fast, you know, like that's where my head is. But maybe this moment is really requiring more depth from us,
mm,
more vision from us, more compassion. Maybe don't ask yourself, what do I need? Maybe it's what does someone else need?
mhm,
You know? Ask your partner,
mm,
need, how can I ease you today? What can I do for you today?
mm,
Get out of your own way enough. Stop looking at yourself in the screen long enough to ask the people you love what they need. And you're going to find a whole new kind of pause and solace.
mm,
Getting out of our own way is really required right now.
mm.
And it's not easy. And somehow we're going to get through it. I have no doubt that we will.
Amen.
Thank you for this time, my beautiful. Spending
Thanks.
time
It's
is
a
beautiful.
gift. Thanks for sharing an hour of your voice and your music and Torah with us. Um,
Thanks for inviting me. It's awesome. It's an awesome privilege. And you just take care of yourself. You and your Ali are holding up the world.
we're trying
Yes,
our
you
own
really.
selves, but um, Neshama, where should people go to hear your music
Um,
when they're
well,
not coming on to like Facebook schmoozes to, you know?
if you go to my website, all of our Zooms, I'm doing things very often, and new things, thank God, are being added every day. I just said yes to doing a session with My Jewish Learning on Friday,
Cool.
piece of Tehillim, which I'm very excited about. Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern time, so that's really awesome. And all the things that I'm doing are listed on the website neshamacarlebach.com. The music is there, the new music. I'm still basking in the fact that my newest recording, Beth Styles, Jackie Tepper, and I, our recording, Believe, was nominated 4 times for Independent Music Awards, and then we actually won. I can't even. It's like this time has given me a lot of reasons to be blessed, but
Mm,
the title track won. So if you haven't heard it, it's been incredibly humbling that that's in the world. So check it. It's all on the website and wherever else. And just write to me because I mean, I have 5 kids, but I feel like I have a lot of time. So
mm.
just say hey. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Neshama.
So nice to see you.
And you. Love to your beautiful mishpacha.
Love back. Love back to yours. And love to everyone out there.
Amen.
Wow. Good night.
Good night.